Hi, I'm Ashley, and I'm here about to interview Adetone Taiwo, and she is age 22, and I'm just going to ask her a little bit about her bilingual education. So, Tone, or Adetone, sorry. Um, as you were growing up, can you tell me where you grew up first?
I grew up in Nigeria, specifically the southwest region in a city called Ibadan.
Okay, and as you were growing up, what languages were you able to learn?
I learned Yoruba and English.
Okay, and which one was easier for you to learn, or which one did you learn first?
I would say I learned both simultaneously. My parents would teach me, speak both languages to me at home. And my grandparents actually spoke only Yoruba to me, but my parents did speak both to me. And one of the jokes my dad told me was that my English name for food was bread and butter, and my English name for food in Yoruba was amala, which are totally different meals. One is more like a breakfast lunch, and one is more like a lunch meal. But in my head, that was my definition for food.
Okay. And as you're growing up, which language did you learn in school?
I learned English in school for the most part because English is actually the official language in Nigeria. So we were taught in school in English language, and we were also yeah, and some parents would speak um, English to their children, like my parents did on occasions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as you were growing up, having learned this bilingual, like having been given this bilingual education, um, how was it difficult for you to learn two languages at once, or was it quite easy?
I think I definitely would say it was quite easy because it I think because I was little at the time, I was learning both. I could associate with both languages, and there wasn't a mixture of both languages in my head. So I would say it was easy. Yeah.
Okay. And also like having I know a lot of Americans don't really know two languages, and um, we have it's mandatory that we take them, but
Hmm.
having come from a country where you're able to learn two languages, how do you feel like it is? Do you feel like it has given you an advantage, or what kind of advantages has it given you, or disadvantages?
I think one of the advantages is definitely being able to relate to someone that does not speak English. Like, I mean, in Nigeria, there are people that do not speak English, especially people that live in the villages and don't have a formal education. So I think I would be able to relate to them. And if they happen to come to the United States, for instance, a lot of grandmothers actually visit the United States to help their children take care of the baby, and if they happen not to speak, English, I think I would be a nice. I'll be able to bridge that gap, language gap, and I think another advantage is also just being able to uh, uh, I know this might be funny, but if I'm in danger and I don't want someone to hear what I'm saying, I would, speak Yoruba instead of English. Like for instance, if I'm on the phone with a Yoruba speaker, I would, communicate. Actually, I did have such an occasion in New York. My cousin was waiting for me, and I spoke Yoruba to her, gave her the number plate of the car I was in Yoruba, and I felt safer doing that. Yeah.
Okay. And also, does it help you like understand the language better, or um, because I know in the textbook that we've been reading, it talks about how it helps us understand the structure of a spoken language. So,
Yeah, I definitely see that it has helped me. Speaking both languages has helped me in understanding structure better because I'm able to see the similarities and differences between both languages. I'm able to see that Yoruba is tonal while English is not, and also able to see that I tend to raise my voice when I'm speaking Yoruba in comparison to when I'm speaking English. And I think there is a little bit of emotional difference too in the speaking of both languages. I think. Um, so that definitely affects my thought process when it comes to understanding languages. And I think as I'm even growing more, I tend to see more of the cultural differences, because there are some words in the English language, for instance, hello, that don't exist in Yoruba. And yeah, and just seeing that, that definitely says something about um, what greeting is in both cultures. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
And one last question. In the textbook, it quotes, in the United States, many immigrant children go from being monolingual in their home language to bilingual in that language and in English, only to end up monolingual speakers of English. This is called subtractive bilingualism, and it can have negative effects on children who often become ashamed of their home language.
Hmm.
Do you feel like this has happened to you coming to America, seeing that you speak more English than you would your home language?
I I'm not ashamed to speak Yoruba. However, there are not a lot of people that I can speak Yoruba to. I get really excited when I see someone that can speak Yoruba, and I try to speak it to them. I don't think I will ever become monolingual, because I still get the opportunity to speak Yoruba to my parents and brothers over the phone, and as well as my uh, family members, uncles and aunties that live in the United States. So I think that is good practice for me, and is very helpful in helping me keep my language. But I also notice that because I don't speak Yoruba as often, there are times when my Yoruba does not sound fluent, and then I think about it, I'm like, oh, I didn't pronounce that right, and then um, I I try to pronounce it. I make a conscious effort to pronounce it properly, but I think it's that just comes from me not I'm losing the spontaneity that comes with speaking Yoruba every day, or all the time.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's all that I had for you today. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
participating in this interview,
Yeah.
and have a good night.
Thanks. It's my pleasure. You too. Yes.